Okay dude, I am being so serious when I say this. Paradox actually did it. Because look at this. With Charters of Commerce, the most important parts of Victoria 3, trade and diplomacy, have both received such massive overhauls that it completely changes how we play the game. And thanks to Paradox for giving me an early code and sponsoring this video, I am able to show you exactly what makes this DLC and the 1.9 update so incredible already now. And so can you, because Charters of Commerce is out now and you can follow my link below to check it out immediately. And if you've been holding off on Victoria 3 so far, you can check out the game for free on Steam between the 19th and 23rd of June. Now, let me be frank. I think every major update for Victoria 3 has pushed the game in the right direction. But while some have added mechanics like power blocks and sphere of influence, Charters of Commerce not only adds features, but completely overhauls core aspects of the game. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what's changed, and why it'll make you return to Victoria 3, or perhaps join the rest of us for the first time. You see, we have gourmet groceries, and perhaps cookies are amongst them. First things first, let's talk trade, because that affects everything else. This update completely revamps the trade system, both at home and abroad. You see, it used to be that your empire would have a set number of goods, and that if you needed a good from abroad, you would open up a trade route with a foreign nation to import said good. In other words, this could make for a lot of busy work, and the numbers on trade route profitability versus need and so on could get confusing, and the same went for exports. But now this system is gone, replaced by a trade network that is fully automated. Almost. You see, instead of trade routes and having trade routes cost bureaucracy points and so on, we now do it a little different. Every province is capable of building trade centers, essentially commercial hubs which connects that province to the world market. Once it is built and staffed, the traders will then look for goods that are profitable to either export or import. In other words, that same good you would personally try to find in an earlier version of the game, the trade centers will now automatically scour the market for you, with one little catch. Again, traders are obsessed with profits. In other words, it is likely that if a good in your market is in short supply and is expensive, that traders will import that good and sell it at home. Sometimes though, another good might be more profitable to sell instead, meaning you might not immediately accomplish your goal. There are clever ways to accommodate this, however, and to turn the market in your favor. First of all, as the government, you have the powers of tariffs and subventions, of taxing a good or assisting in their purchase. Any good can be chosen individually like this, and in the goods menu, there are now several more ways to alter their import and export features. In other words, if a good is not being imported, consider a deep subvention to make it that much more profitable for the traders to sell them at home. At the same time, if a good is being traded away in too large a volume, or if you need to sell them off, you can do the same for exports. In other words, providing deep incentives for the automation process to work for you. This change, while perhaps sounding minor, is as game-changing as they come. I find that I'm much less stress managing and microing everything, and much more enjoying the process of automation, of building trade centers and making those small adjustments when I need to. Because as long as I have enough trade centers, infrastructure and convoys, the generalities of trade are now in a bigger extent happening in the background, which is amazing for that sense of a living trade empire. There is more to this, of course, but arguably the single largest aspect of this update, which also influences trade, is the new treaty system, which completely overhauls diplomacy. You see, usually, Paradox games treat diplomatic actions as a single issue feature. Think of forming an alliance or anything else, and you look at the option and check if all the positive modifier boxes are ticked. If they're green, you can go ahead with the offer and have it succeed typically. If not, too bad, there's kind of nothing you can do until you fulfill other requirements. Enter Treaties, Victoria 3's new take on bilateral agreements where multiple actions may happen at once and where you can turn the tide of a decision on the spot. Now this is quite major and the first in a historical grand strategy Paradox game if you can believe it, but if I had to describe it, I say it functions similarly to a more traditional transactional diplomacy system in many other games, while at the same time going much deeper and therefore staying true to the Paradox formula. Now avert your gaze from this gorgeous UI for a second and join me in once again thinking about our trade situation. Again, if you're not getting exactly what you need from your trade networks, it's possible to specifically import and export goods through a treaty, as long as your treaty partner carries or acquires a specific good or goods. Indeed, there's more you can do as well. An exchange of goods doesn't have to be mutual, it can be one-sided. It can be traded for something completely different like a security guarantee, trading privileges, or pure cash. Or get this, because goods have actual value in Victoria 3 and because their presence in a market determines the profits of their traders, sometimes you can simply ask for the import or export of a good without giving anything else in return, because exporting much more of a good than usual is actually a good thing for a country that currently overproduces it. This is where this treaty system is so revolutionary and becomes so much deeper than your typical strategy diplomacy system, because it offers so many possibilities, interacts with so many other systems, and offers so many variations. Even though Victoria 3 still makes extensive use of diplomatic actions or demands for unilateral actions, like improving relations, demanding a state in a diplomatic play, or inviting countries to power blocks, key actions have been transformed into treaty options, like forming alliances for example, and this is great for two reasons. Number one, it's immersive to negotiate an alliance instead of just clicking a button. And two, you can actually negotiate the terms of an alliance, making it much more mutually beneficial, for example, than it otherwise would be. Of course, the most fun part of any treaty is that you get to name them. I mean, if it wasn't immersive enough already, naming treaties has to be one of the top 2 coolest features ever concocted at a Paradox brainstorming session, as it gives you so much more agency and the sense of actually drawing up those historical all-important agreements. This is, and what I'm about to say is no joke, the by far best version of Victoria 3 so far. It's actually not even close. The reason is that the game itself has changed, not just been added to, and what's changed is great pretty much universally across the board. Victoria 3, from the previous changes made to privatization, companies and power blocks, to now the complete trade and diplomacy overhaul, and you have a game whose bones now are essentially as strong as they come. With Victoria 3, Paradox has taken the consumer-friendly approach, by the way, of making the large game-changing features into free patches, in this case the 1.9 patch, which is awesome. But for Charters of Commerce in particular, we're getting a few incredible features you do not want to miss. First of all, we have the company charters themselves, specifically the investment, colony, and industry charters, which allow for companies to invest both in domestic and foreign buildings. They can become monopolies through treaties or even rule their own colonies, much like the British East India Company or the Hudson Bay Company did, which greatly deepens the gameplay for companies. Together with the previously included foreign investment feature, the aspect of trade and truly getting your financial tentacles into every nook and cranny feels better than ever. The companies can do even more. If a company does well enough in terms of profits and productivity, they can start producing prestige goods, unique goods to those companies, which effectively creates a luxury good, a brand that is only available through that company, making your market and goods even more valuable. In addition, the DLC comes with important unique treaties, including the ability to agree on or impose no tariffs or subventions on goods, or even prevent a party from trading a certain good with the rest of the world market altogether, making them even more reliant on you or gutting their trading possibilities. You can even offer or ask that a country changes their laws. You can negotiate non-colonization agreements to secure your place in the sun, or indeed grant a monopoly to a foreign company, meaning that companies can become international power players that either serve or undermine you. In other words, Charters of Commerce and the 1.9 update feels like a significant refinement of Victoria 3 to the point where you can't imagine ever going back. I have had so much fun in my dozens of hours with the DLC, and I can't wait for you to get your hands on it as well and tell me what you think. Victoria 3 Charters of Commerce is out now, so follow my link below to begin playing immediately. And if you don't already own the game, you can play Victoria 3 for free on Steam between the 19th and 23rd of June. Let me know your thoughts on this grand update, and make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, thank you so much to Paradox Interactive for sponsoring this video, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!